This episode of Darling, I'm Depressed Again, Don't Tell My Mother contains mention of gender based violence, rape, and sexual assault. Listening and viewer discretion is advised. Good afternoon, good evening, good evening. My name is John Shaquille Poitier Jr. And welcome back to my podcast, Darling, I'm Depressed Again. Don't Tell My Mother, where we discuss mental health in the youth, the adolescents, the teenagers, the primary schoolers, high schoolers, tertiary schoolers, trade schoolers, the elderly, the middle aged, the under middle aged, the over middle aged. Listen, once you are a person, once you are breathing, we have something for you. Now, each episode, we have a certain word that ties everything together, that gives it a certain feel, if you will. And the word for this episode is respect. Yes, like Aretha Franklin respect, like RESPECT respect. And without a further ado, let's get into the episode. So, growing up in the Caribbean, it is very common to see women being disrespected. And I know a lot of people are going to feel up in arms about that comment, and a lot of people may feel disrespected by that comment, but it is the truth. Growing up in the Caribbean, there are a lot of times where you will see women being disrespected. And it's so strange because for a culture that prioritizes, or rather places women at the center of, the interest, women are treated as objects. They're objectified, they are treated as lesser than human beings. It's a mess. It really is a mess. I mean, going to school, you would hear a story about boys talking about, oh, they had sex with that one, they had sex with this one, they had sex with this one, and what's not. But you understand that the girl that they had sex with, they are the one who people will call the whore and all the derogatory names. However, the boy, he's the cool guy, right? He's the awesome one. He's the best one on the block. But it's the gal that gets called all of the derogatory names, right? Caribbean culture, a large part of it is centered on expressing hate towards women. And that's not just Caribbean culture, that's also black culture in general. Black women, and this is a very, very, loaded topic, but black women are treated much worse than a lot of other groups out there. That is that is a notable fact. Black women have so many expectations put on them. They have so many things put on them that they are expected to do all of it. They are expected to go to work, get the job, make the money, feed the kids, feed the husband, get married. First of all, they're expected to get the husband, get married, get the kids. They are expected to do every single thing on the bucket list. We place and we give black women these expectations and we punish them, right? Society, Caribbean culture, black culture, we punish them when they don't meet those expectations. And it's a system set up by men. It is. It is absolutely a system set up by men. Misogyny has played a role in society viewing women as weaker, right? Weaker people. However, we expect women to be the ones to solve all of our problems, right? For a lot of us who have mommy in our life, or big sister in our life, or big cousin in our life, we'll say, oh, my mommy will fix it. We run to mommy, run to big cousin, right? Run to sister. We run to those female figures. However, when you look at it on a broader aspect, it's those same female figures that a lot of people would turn around and discourage or put down simply because of their sex. Simply because of their sex. And it's so strange. It is so strange because society is based on a lot of the things that we experience in society, a lot of the things that women experience in society is primarily based on misogyny. It's primarily based on misogyny, absolutely. when laws were created for women, when laws were put in place for women, when rules were put in place for women, when all of these things were put in place for women, all of those things were based on men who wanted to make sure that the woman, quote, knew her place, unquote, right? All of those things were put in place by men who wanted to make sure that women, quote, knew what to do and knew what not to do, end quote. And it's insane, even down to the conversation about having women as leaders. For example, in the Bahamas, we have never had a female prime minister. And when I had conversations about it, when I had discussions about it, I asked, well, why wouldn't you want a female prime minister? What's the difference between having a female prime minister or a male prime minister? What's the difference between having a man as a prime minister or a woman as a prime minister? And the automatic response is, man, women too emotional, women too this, women too that. You know, if a woman's a prime minister, we'd have all this trouble, all this chaos. However, I would like to note that men have led the world for a very long time. And the amount of chaos that has been a result of that. Yet we say that women are too emotional. We forget that things like anger, that's also an emotion. We forget that things like sadness, that's also an emotion. A lot of times when men as leaders cause all this chaos, all of this anger and this sadness that they feel inside, we don't think, oh, they're being emotional. We think they're just being men. But no, an angry man is still an emotional man. Yet we would say that a woman cannot be a leader. We would say that a woman cannot do things simply because she's too emotional. So, all of these things that I'm mentioning, every single thing that I'm mentioning, is simply to state that for a long time we have put women on the back burner, so to speak. Yes, we prioritize women as objects of sexual pleasure, or we prioritize women as beings of servitude, right? In 2025, that's what we still doing. That's what society still does. That's what we continue to do. Yet we fail to acknowledge the role that they play as just regular human beings, just as people, just in acknowledging them as people, right? We fail to do that. A lot of us fail to do that. We continuously fail to do that. And it's a difficult thing to talk about because I am not a woman. I cannot give that full perspective. I cannot even give any of that perspective about what women go through. I can only speak about from the perspective of someone who has watched, who has seen these things happen with my own eyes, who has seen women being disrespected or devalued or made out to be less than they actually are simply for the fact that they, for their sex. It's an incredibly not even sad thing to see, but it's an incredibly disappointing thing to see. Because for a world that prides itself on being so progressive and for being so incredible and amazing and renewing, we still have this issue of neglecting the rights that women deserve. It's absolutely insane to me. We still have this issue of treating women like they are not a counterpart, but like they are lesser than. Anything that would, anything that we think would give a woman equal rights or rights over her own autonomy or rights over anything that she wants to do, we shut down. We shut down those things entirely. I'll never forget years ago. And someone can quote me on this if I'm wrong, and you are welcome to quote me on this if I am wrong. There was a referendum many years ago, many years ago, and I remember this so specifically. And it was supposed to give women in the Bahamas, and y'all can quote me on this if I'm wrong, but I'm looking at it right now, so I don't think I'm wrong. It was supposed to be a step forward for gender equity and equality, right? It's supposed to be a step forward for gender equity and equality. And because of the way society views women, particularly in this instance, Bahamian society, it was voted against, right? So let me make this clear. They voted no. So they said no to your gender equity, no to your gender equality, no to your equal pay, no to your treating women like human beings. They said no. They said no. And that is my entire thing, right? Like, I want y'all to stay with me. I say and write a lot because I really want y'all to stay with me. Every human being comes from somebody. Whether every human being has a mother. Every human being has a person that they came from. So for you to say that you vote no to a referendum that ensures gender equity, gender equality, you are saying you don't care about your mother, you don't care about your sister, you don't care about your cousin, you don't care about your niece, you don't care about your Grammy, you don't care about your Grammy that dead, you don't care about your Grammy that alive, you don't care about any of the women in your life because you would rather vote no to a referendum that would ensure that they have the right, the legal right to be equal. Blow me down. It's ridiculous. It's genuinely ridiculous. And I love my Bahamian people. I love my Bahamian people down, hands down, 100% hands down. But the level of misogyny that we have placed within our Bahamian society is insane. And me just saying my Bahamian society doesn't discount or discredit or remove any of the sick things that go on inside the Black community as a whole. But I'm a Bahamian, so I'm talking from a Bahamian perspective. Like I was saying, there are so many things that I had to unlearn that I didn't think were misogynistic because everyone else is doing it. I didn't think it was misogynistic to say that because everyone else is saying it. I didn't think it was misogynistic to be like that because everyone else is like that, right? And it's so bad where we begin to train our daughters that that is the behavior that they have to accept and that it is okay for them to do. We train our daughters to accept the fact that they have to be told they are the bare minimum, to have to accept the fact that they must not reach for the stars, to accept the fact that while not reaching for the stars, they must hold up the sky. We train our daughters in Bahamian society not to be treated like people, but to upraise the people who hurt them. Even down to this, you can always tell who grew up in a house with women and who didn't. But at the same time, it shouldn't take you growing up in a house with women to respect women, it shouldn't take that. Because at the end of the day, you just respecting another human being. Honestly, at the root of it all, you're just respecting another human being. Like, honestly speaking, honestly, that's all it is. It's not some newfangled fancy contraption. You are just honoring another person's right to exist. But I digress. I grew up in a house with my mommy, my sisters, and my niece is now, 6 years old. She came around like 6 years ago. And growing up with women, it taught me not only to appreciate them, right? It taught me not only to appreciate them, but it also taught me to realize that how ignorant, and I say this with so much love and adoration, how ignorant the world around me can be. Because it's insane. I would see one of my big sisters do something so incredible, so amazing, so wonderful. I would see my mommy just working, working, working. My mommy is the best professional, one of the best professionals I know, one of the best people I know at a job. Phenomenal, working, working, working. And then I would go outside and I would see people saying that women don't need to do this or women don't need to do that or blah 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 blah, all that bull crap. And I in my head like, but I just saw my mommy doing that. Or I just saw my sister doing that. Right? It's a thing whereas you have to understand, and I want the listeners of this podcast to understand When you deny women that basic respect, you are denying them the respect that you would give any other human being. You are saying you view women as less than human beings. Let me speak to the men specifically. You are saying that you view women as less than human beings. Those double standards, those little moments of idiocy that, or idiocy? Yeah, idiocy. I think I said that right. Anyway, those little moments that you think are just, a part of you, boys will be boys and all of that foolishness. Let me tell you all something. When you deny a woman the right to respect, you are denying a human being the right to respect. Like that's just plain English. Ain't nothing, ain't no fancy, ain't no blah blah blah. That's just what it is. Because when you respect someone, basic things fall underneath that, like love, like believing in someone. A lot of women are not believed when it comes to instances of their health or instances of the things that happen to them. Y'all think this, okay, watch this. The National Sexual Violence Resource Center. 1 in 5 women in the United States experience completed or attempted rape during their lifetime. 81% of women experienced some form of sexual harassment and or assault in their lifetime. 1 in 3 female victims of completed or attempted rape experienced it for the first time between the ages of 11 to 17. Almost 1 in 4 undergraduate women experienced sexual assault or misconduct at 33 of the nation's major universities. Now, keep in mind, of course, this is just the United States of America, right? This is just the United States of America. Keep that in mind. Now, I'm looking at a research paper here. It says the World Health Organization in 2013 estimated that 35% of women globally are subjected to physical and or sexual violence, and 38% are killed by an intimate partner. Okay. In the Caribbean, violence against women is acknowledged as being extensive across the region. Sexual coercion and abuse are reportedly widespread, and 5 of the top 20 recorded rape rates for 2019 were in the Caribbean. Grenada recorded 30.6 per 100,000, St. Kitts and Nevis 28.6, St. Vincent and the Grenadines 25.6, Barbados 24.9, Jamaica 24.4%. All right. Now, you see, I was just reading off a bunch of statistics for y'all, but let me just break that down into layman's terms. We don't respect women. Because we don't respect women, we don't respect their bodies, we don't respect their rights, and these are the things that happen. These are the things that happen. It's not fair to another human being for these things for them to have to experience these things as just as default. We've accepted that as default. That's not normal. As much as you may normalize it, it's not normal. And it starts from the little things. It starts from telling your son, man, yeah, man, you can spank that girl on the hip, man. That's cool. That's straight. No, that's sexual assault. That's sexual assault. Start teaching your children the meaning of sexual assault. If you touch someone in a private place without their permission, that is sexual assault. If you touch someone in a way that they do not like, that is wrong. Do not touch people. Do not interact with people who do not want to interact with you. That is basic respect. That is what we should start teaching our children. When we start enabling that boys will be boys foolishness, that's when a lot of things started going down. And we have been doing that as a society for a very long time. For a very long time. And when I say a very long time, I don't mean no 10 or 20 or 30 years. I mean, it's almost been centuries. Dating back to slavery. It went from slave masters not treating women, black women, right, to now in the modern day and time, the people who are free not treating black women right either. As long as we as a society continue to oppress black women, there will never be peace in our community. There will never be peace in anything that we want to do. There will never be peace in the way that we operate. Simply because we continue to hurt a group of women that we expect to fix all of our problems. Even down to the, oh my goodness, even down to that marital rape debate. Even down to that. I was a person, I am a person who I love, I love to read these things and go through these things and research these things. So a few months ago, or well over a year ago, there was a discussion brought up about criminalizing marital rape, primarily because women, the primary victims of marital rape, the people who experience it the most, were complaining about feeling unsafe, were complaining about feeling unwell, i.e., a woman runs into the police station and says that her husband raped her. She has basically no protection, right? She has no protection. And the outrage from that conversation was insane. Let me tell you all something. I have never in my life seen so many Bahamians become outraged at the concept of giving a woman rights. Like, I have seen it, or the referendum was one thing, but no, this was something entirely different. Because that's when they started bringing in God and the Bible, and they started mentioning all these things about Christianity and how a husband can't rape his wife and how these things cannot happen, and it's against the will of God for y'all to criminalize marital rape, and how it's an open door into whatever agenda or whatever foolishness y'all talking about. Listen to me. Facebook was piping hot. And all because women were asking for the right to be protected. And it made me think inside my head, what if their daughters came to them? What if their mothers came to them? What if their sisters came to them? What if their cousins came to them and said, my husband raped me? What if they came to them and said that? Then what would happen? Now it's, what? What? What do you do? I'll kill him. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll do that. But when it came time to actually speak up for the action, for the legislative action that would protect them, that would make sure that the person who assaulted them would face repercussion, it was radio silence. Radio silence. Because there is nothing that society loves more than beating down on women. And that is truly sickening. It makes you sick. It makes me sick to my stomach, because when we do that continuously, or especially as a Christian nation, the Bahamas is a Christian nation. We pride ourselves on being a Christian nation. But as a Christian nation, we have normalized a constant cycle of abuse, and we have been the perpetrators of a relentless tirade of insults and violence against women that has not lessened up, but has rather increased in the past years. And it has been merciless. The same things my grandmother went through, same things that my mother went through, same things that my sisters. I don't want my niece to have to go through that. I don't want my future daughters to have to go through that. Something got to change. And I promise you, it will not be them that changes. It will not be the women in this new upcoming generation, and I pray to God that it's not. It should not have to be them that change to fit the rules that society has made for them. No, society needs to start changing to fit them. Okay? We need more people to speak up and speak out. We need more people to start recognizing, hey, these things going on. It's not okay. And listen, nothing perfect, nothing is perfect. Nobody is perfect. We all mess up someplace, shape, or form. We're going to get it wrong sometimes. We are going to get it wrong a lot of times. I have gotten it wrong a lot. No matter how many women I grew up around, I grew up with, I have gotten it wrong a lot. But the point is to try and be better, to do your best to be better, to start believing women, to start respecting women, to start trying to understand women, to start believing. So let's exchange that word. To start believing human beings, to start respecting human beings, to start understanding human beings. That is what is being asked of us. That is what we need to do. Because if we're not doing it for our mothers and our daughters, then who would we do it for? Who would we do it for? If we're not doing it for the people that we love, if we won't give the people that we love the basic respect and the basic decency that they deserve, who the hell are we doing it for? Please let me know. Send me an email, send me a text message, send me a Facebook message, send me a DM on Instagram, send me a Twitter, send me something. Let me know who would we do it for. If we're not doing it for the women that raised us and loved us, then who would we do any of this for? That lack of empathy, that lack of understanding, and that lack of just basic, and y'all gonna hear, I repeat the word a lot of times, basic human decency has gone on long enough. We gotta cut it out. Got to cut it out. I don't care how it get cut out. I don't care when it get cut out. I don't care if it get cut out, but it has to get cut out because it cannot continue. It should not continue, and it must not continue. Because as long as it continues, then we will never know peace as a society. Now, y'all know I could keep going on and on with this topic, but today I just want y'all to reflect on what I was saying. Please let me know if anything I said touched you, or if you disagree with anything I said, or if you agree. Just let me know your thoughts, let me know your comments, your questions, concerns, and it's been a blast talking to y'all. I'll see y'all next time on Darling, I'm Depressed Again. Don't tell my mother.